I'm an animator and designer, and for nearly 3 years I've been working freelance. It was definitely the right decision for me, but it's not without its difficulties. Here are my top 3 best and worst things about working freelance. Number 3 worst, money. When I worked in a full-time job, I had the security of knowing how much money I'd receive every single month, obviously as long as I didn't get fired, and that meant that I knew my budget every month for choosing a flat to rent or if we wanted to go on holiday. But as soon as I went freelance, that all changed, and suddenly it was now down to me and me alone to bring the money in. I had to go out and find the work and meet clients and propose projects and turn those projects into money. But that sort of thing isn't the same all year round. There are some months where I'm really busy and I've got loads of work come in, and there are other months which are pretty quiet. There's no guarantee that I'll make the same amount of money every single month. And it's not easy to put a price on your own abilities as well. I have and still do struggle with costing projects correctly and feeling confident to say, yeah, this is how much I deserve for what I do. So why is this only at number 3? Because it's also one of the best things about being freelance. As difficult as it is to put a price on what you do, the more you practice it, it can become quite empowering and actually might mean that you can earn more money than you would do in a full-time job. In the past 9 months, I've already earned more money than I did in a full year at my old job. After a few years, I've now built up a strong selection of regular clients that means I don't have to always worry about going out and finding work all the time. Also, as time goes on and you improve your skills, you can start to charge more because what you're offering is getting better and better. Like I said, I still find it difficult knowing exactly what that figure is sometimes, but the confidence to charge what you deserve does come with practice. Number 2 worst, discipline. Let's say you work full time at a studio and your hours are 9 AM to 5 PM. Even if you wake up in the morning and really cannot be bothered to go, the fact that you might get fired if you don't is a pretty strong motivator. When you're freelance though, all of that is on you. There's no one else that's going to make you start work. You have to have the discipline to do so, even if it's the last thing you want to do. And there are loads of things that can suck the motivation out of you, whether it's a boring project or a frustrating problem or a lack of self-belief. Sometimes you just cannot be bothered. Also at a studio, when you finish your shift, you can go home for the evening and leave it all behind. But when you're freelance, it's so easy to lose track of time and just keep working late into the night because the idea of leaving something unfinished will leave you frustrated. You're much more prone as well to having all the frustrations and difficulties of the day stay with you all evening. You have to be disciplined, and sometimes that's not easy. Number 2 best, variety. Studios often need a precisely defined focus to stand out, a niche that makes them successful, and that might be a certain type of product like live performance graphics or a certain type of client that they work with, like the financial industry. That usually drives most, if not all, of the stuff that they create. But working freelance means that you call the shots. In the past 3 years, I've made TV title sequences, animated billboards, explainer videos, social media adverts, and even backdrops for a DJ. If I'd wanted the same variety of projects working in a full-time position, I'd probably have to work at about 3 or 4 different studios. Now, you won't always get to work on huge projects that keep you busy for weeks on end. Sometimes you just have to get what you can. But if anything, that makes it all the more varied. It's quite normal for me to finish an elaborate project that I've been on for the past month, and then move on to something really straightforward that only lasts me about a day. I thrive off that fluctuation, and it's a great way of keeping me on my toes. Number 1 worst, managing clients. Now, if you've spoken to anyone about working freelance, the chances are you've heard about this already. Some clients are the worst. Now, before I go any further, I do need to say I'm very lucky the majority of clients I work with are talented, lovely people, and I really enjoy collaborating with them. And most of the annoyances I encounter are out of their control, or are just genuine mistakes. We're human, we make mistakes all the time. But that doesn't mean they're not incredibly frustrating. Getting paid is a big one. I've always found it funny that we as creators have strict deadlines on when work has to be delivered, but clients' deadlines for paying for that work sometimes aren't taken seriously. I don't think their full-time employees would stay quiet if their wages were paid late. So you chase up a late invoice, only to have no response. So you chase it up again, and again, and again. And then finally you're told it's being processed, it's on the system. And it'll be in your account in 30 days. Sometimes the difficulty can go much deeper than that. With any client project, whether you're working at a studio or working freelance, you're ultimately creating work for someone else. And that can be quite a challenging dynamic sometimes. The dream client will recognise your role as a creative and appreciate your expertise, even if it means being told that they're wrong. And there's a reason that they're called the dream client, because they're a lot less common than you'd like. Suddenly your 5 years of education and 10 years of industry experience mean nothing, because Karen from finance thinks the logo should be blue instead. Now obviously client management is not unique to freelancers, and studios face these sort of problems all the time, but they'll often have people or even teams of people to deal with difficult clients. You can focus on being an animator or a designer or whatever it is that you do, but when you work freelance, you still have to do all of that work and manage the clients that are asking for it. Number 1 best, flexibility. Now this is definitely the main reason that I went freelance 3 years ago. I live with a health condition called cystic fibrosis, which impacts my everyday life, and I made the decision to go freelance during a routine hospital stay, which at the time meant taking 2 weeks off work. I realised that I wasn't prioritising my health as much as I should, because I was too constrained by the 9 to 5 hours that I was working. Since going freelance though, I've become totally in control of my schedule. If I need to start working later than normal because I need to fit in a morning run, I can. If I need to stop working early because I'm exhausted and need to rest, I can. And if I need to take time off work because I need to go into hospital, I can. Even if you don't have a health condition to manage, there are probably really important things in your life other than your work. Whether that's friends and family, a hobby that you're excited about, a goal you want to achieve, or something completely out of the blue that needs your undivided attention. There are many reasons why work sometimes has to take a back seat. Now, there are limits to this of course. I still have to get the work done, I still have to meet deadlines, but how I do that is totally up to me. Going freelance has allowed me to work on some really exciting projects and take work into my own hands. Now, none of this is to take anything away from having a full-time job. I was only able to go freelance in the first place because of everything that I learned whilst working at a studio. The decision to go freelance is a very personal one and it isn't suitable for everybody, but despite its downsides, it's definitely one of the best decisions I've ever made. So do you work freelance? Tell me what you love and hate about it in the comments. And if you're thinking about making the switch and you've got any questions, ask them below and I'll do my best to answer them.